everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. And the Cheetahs have just completely outclassed and blown the Western Province away, 38 points to 21, with Western Province getting a late consolation try to sort of make the scoreboard look a little bit more respectable. But a bonus point victory against the Cheetahs. They will take all 5 points in a day of upsets after the Griquas beat the Lions earlier. Also a bonus point victory there, whilst the Western Province will leave Bloemfontein with absolutely nothing. And two halves, which are probably sort of very sort of contradicting, with the Cheetahs putting an immense first half defensive effort before they really started to sort of turn it up in the second half. Before we sort of break the game down, stuff like that, please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Apologies for those in the live watch along. We had a couple of technical issues which caused the stream to go down, but we should be all good for tonight. 8:30 will be live with you guys, as always, chatting about the British and Irish Lions team. Was a nice today. Once again, looking ahead of this weekend. Sort of, I mean, there's only sort of so many things we could talk about, but with the fact that the British and Irish Lions have named their side, means that we have a little bit more to sort of talk about and sort of gauge for this weekend. So in terms of the game itself, I mean, it started off like a house on fire to the Cheetahs. I mean, they were over in the first minute through Duncan Saul after a couple of phases before going out wide, and all the space in the world, and Duncan Saul finished perfectly. And then, you know, the Western Province, after that, literally went up and set up a tent inside. In fact, they probably could have built a permanent structure. They were in the Western Province half and 22 so much. They literally just sort of camped in the Western Province half for so much of it. But the Cheetahs' defense was absolutely relentless. You know, just making tackle after tackle, you know, turnover after turnover. They couldn't really get themselves out of trouble. You know, a couple of good kicks in behind, you know, kept sort of keeping the pressure on the Cheetahs, but they never did panic. And they sort of just kept absorbing the pressure. And I thought they did brilliantly. What didn't help was Tim Swiel, you know, missing two pretty straightforward penalty options. The first in the 5th minute, the second in the 27th minute, which means that when Rion Pienaar had a shot at goal, literally in the 37th minute, you know, it was 8-0, and despite the Western Province having spent all the time in the Cheetahs half. And then just on the cusp of half time, Ruan Pienaar also getting another penalty, deciding to again go for the poles. So despite having literally a 31% possession in the first half, Cheetahs went into the half time with an 11-0 lead, which was really impressive. In the second half, though, the Western Province hit back pretty early as Evan Ruiz went in for the first of his 2 tries. He just can't be stopped at the moment, Evan Ruiz. Another storming performance by him. We'll look at his numbers in a little bit. Tim Sewell adding the extras, but the Cheetahs hit back almost immediately in the 46th minute through David Brits, with Ruan Pienaar adding the extras before some fantastic handling, some really good work. I mean, the Cheetahs are such an attractive side to watch, you know. I mean, after that immense defensive effort, which is not necessarily what they're known for, but it was really good to see. You know, we started to see a bit more sort of the flair and the handling in the second half. Some really good interplay before Ruan Pienaar went over in the 49th minute and converted his try to make it 25 points to 7. You kind of thought the game was a little bit sort of dead and buried. So a couple of players coming on for Western Province, and they got a glimmer of hope as Evan Ruiz went over on the left-hand side in the 52nd minute, with Tim Swiel converting very well to make it 25 points to 14. And at that sort of stage, you thought, well, you know, the game could still be on. They still had about 25 minutes to play. You know, the Western Province seemed to be gaining a bit of momentum. I mean, the game was sort of starting to open up, really. But it was just sort of sublime game management from Ruan Pienaar. You know, penalty in the 56th minute, absorbed all the pressure, another penalty in the 74th minute, and just to cap it off, then Cohen Jasper going over in the 77th minute for that bonus point. Reina Fortuin adding the extras there. Look, there was a consolation try scored by Thomas Bursey, who got his Currie Cup career off with a 5-pointer, and Sasham Gomazulu also getting his first points in professional rugby coming off the bench. But I mean, if you look at the stats, it's incredible when you think that that the Western Province struggled so much to find. I mean, they got 21 points, but they really sort of struggled to break down that Free State Cheetahs side. 67% possession overall, 69 in the first half, 64 in the second half. Territory, 74% in the first half, 71 in the second half. You know, 4 tries to 3. They ran 423 meters to the Western Province, beating 35 defenders. The same amount of clean breaks, 6 apiece. You know, almost more than double the amount of gain line carries. You know, a lot more passes, not as many offloads, but 9 turnovers on the ground for the Cheetahs. That was really sort of a turning point. You know, I thought John Ray Rudolph was superb tonight. Quite a few kicks from hand from both. 127 rucks won by the Western Province. But if you look at the tackles made, I mean, this is it, isn't it? 194 of 227 tackles made by the Cheetahs. What an absolutely sublime defensive effort, missing just 33 tackles. The Western Province missed 21 of 99 tackles at a 79% tackle success rate. Goal kicking as well was very good for the Cheetahs. I mean, Tim Sewell missing 2 kicks at 6 points that they left out there, whereas Ruan Pienaar was on song, 88% goal kicking success rate. I mean, the rucks for the Cheetahs were brilliant. You know, I mean, 61 or 62% ruck success rate, 93% for the Western Province. The Western Province lineout was pretty good. They won all 20 of their lineouts. The Cheetahs losing 3 of the 12 that they had. Scrum success rate as well was pretty solid for the Western Province. Their set piece worked, and that's the weird thing. Their set piece was working. They had dominance there. They just couldn't really break down the Cheetah defense. Penalties conceded was Western Province was 18 in total for the Cheetahs, 13. But let's look at some of the sort of the big performers for the Cheetahs. And I mean, Jean-Ray Rudolph was I thought absolutely immense. Another really impressive performance by him. He made 19 tackles, 2 turnovers, 1. He missed just 2 tackles. He also carried the ball up 4 times, but it was just that defensive effort that was so impressive. I mean, he's a fantastic player, is Jean-Ray Rudolph. I thought it was a very good move for him to go to the Cheetahs, and I think it'll be interesting to sort of see. You know, as injuries start keeping the United Rugby Championship, I think he's somebody who would be quite a good addition to any side, really. A very impressive performance from him today. Definitely probably in the round of the man of the match. I mean, making 19 tackles is a big ask in a big defensive effort. Junior Pokamela as well. I mean, what a player. We struggle with injuries, but whenever I think he's somebody who, if he got injured less, you know, would probably be sort of pushing for high honours. But he made a whopping 23 tackles according to Ultimate Rugby. You know, 4 carries as well. But it's those tackles which are so impressive. You know, Junior Pokamela really fronting up. Those two I thought were just outstanding. Aiden Davis was very good on the ground, won a very important turnover. He also contributed with 20 tackles as well as 7 carries. I thought Cornell Smith looked pretty good for the Western Province in the inside centre. I thought it was quite impressive with his work. He always looks sort of go quite positive. But as I said, it all comes down to the defensive effort. I mean, Jean Joster, 17 tackles. You know, Renier Bernardo, 19 tackles. It's Marnus van der Merwe, 14 tackles. It's all down to the defensive work that was done by the Cheetahs. You know, in terms of players who I thought were pretty good for Western Province, I mean, Evan Lewis continues to be a standout player. 15 carries he made, making 48 meters, beating 8 defenders, 2 clean breaks, as well as 3 passes. He also made 8 tackles and didn't miss a single one. So I thought he was very impressive. Edel van der Merwe, you know, he gained 81 meters and beat 6 defenders, so he had his moments. But I suppose it's what a case of the Western Province, you're trying to find how can they bring their wings more into it. You know, they got lots of talent in Edel van der Merwe, but how can they sort of bring him into the game more? Namaklaba also looked back to his best. You know, he made 12 carries, 7 tackles as well. You know, I mean, he's somebody who's quite undercooked at the moment in terms of game time. So really good to see him come through and play a solid 80 minutes. It was a good game of rugby. It was a good game of rugby, but I think, you know, you've got to credit the Cheetahs, who were absolutely superb with their game management. You know, just making so many tackles. You know, winning the ball on the ground. Their discipline was much better than the Western Province. They didn't concede that many penalties despite being under pressure for so much. So it's a massive boost for Harvey Fourie. He'll be very happy with that side. Let me know what you thought of the game down below. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Steven. I'll see you guys later for the live show. Thank you very much for watching.